So I'm here with Mark, and Mark, you work on testing, is that right?
That's right, for Canonical.
Okay, so what's testing involve?
Testing is, it just involves making sure that the quality of the operating system from the hardware stack to the software stack is kind of being preserved and in a measurable way. So we want to be able to evaluate like that. We want to know about regressions instead of being told about regressions as much as possible.
So where in the distribution cycle does your role fit in? Are you testing all the time, or do you do a big bunch of testing just before a release?
Good question. We do actually all the time. Not for distributions that have been released. When a new package appears and proposed, well, we have some key flags for packages that are hardware related. So when those get updated, the tests get dispatched automatically to about like 100 machines that we have for testing purposes. These machines vary from laptop, desktop, server, so we try to cover like a big range. That's for stable releases. For development releases, as soon as a CD image like a daily current image appears, we test it once on a machine for each daily current. And for each milestone, like the alphas, the betas, our release candidates, those get tested across the data center on those same 100 machines. So the test suite, unfortunately, right now is not very elaborate, but we're working on the framework so that we could do it on a consistent basis to be warned, like preemptively when there is a problem.
So are you testing hardware-specific stuff or software functionality?
Originally, we were concentrating on hardware because the service was born in hardware certification. But slowly we found like there was benefit to the distro as a whole. So software testing is increasingly starting to have a presence in the process. And one of the cool things that we're going to be doing is desktop testing, where we test desktop applications as a black box. We're using the accessibility layer with LDTP. We're actually able to kind of manipulate applications programmatically. So when you run the test, it's pretty funny to see like windows pop up, you see the menus, drop-down menus come up, and everything just happens automatically.
So you have a test and that you deploy across 100 machines. These are all in a warehouse or something somewhere, are they? They physically exist.
Yes.
They're real machines, not virtualized.
Exactly. We have some of the machines are virtualized, but the 100 I speak of are all hardware. Spread across across the world actually. We've got 3 data centers where they're located, and like laptops they're kind of topically separated. So laptops are in one place, desktops in another, and servers in another place.
How do you decide which bits of hardware you're going to test on?
We're going to test on everything we put our hands on.
Okay.
So we could feasibly test. There are some corner cases like printers. Like peripherals and components is something that I'm currently working on that's difficult to expect because it's so broad. I mean, like we could test a mouse, we could test the Bluetooth device, and for each device we need to write an adequate number of tests. So we can't really do that right now.
I mean, the sheer breadth and number of printers and things is just huge. And it's very difficult to monitor as well. I suppose when you're doing a software test, it can be tested and evaluated in software, but a printer, well, you have to look at the output, don't you?
Yeah, to a certain degree, we also need human intervention for the current test that we have. Right. So every milestone, every significant milestone that we have, or point releases, we also kick in some manual tests. Some things require manual intervention, like the graphics controller. So we do a best effort of automating it, but sometimes it's just good to have human validation. Say, oh yeah, that does look like the desktop. Otherwise, like grabbing the RAM buffer, you don't really necessarily get an accurate view of what is being displayed on the monitor.
Right. Now you're working on something called Checkbox.
Right. So Checkbox originated from the same hardware certification project and was eventually released to the community, which is mostly a integration tool. So there are plenty of really good test suites out there. Some are kind of like litmus tests that just need to be passed as a rite of passage. Like there's the auto test, LTP, LSB, also folks that were here at the conference. And there's just a bunch of little suites that exist out there, and what we want to do is leverage those, because most of them are already automated. So if we could just stick them in very quickly, and we're able to leverage the work from the community, and perhaps even if they have servers that can accept test results, we'd be more than glad to just push those test results to them as well. It's just a matter of configuring the plugin accordingly.
Are there things that developers can be doing when they're developing applications to help in the testing process, in terms of enabling tests to be run against their software?
Yeah, well, that's something that we've been discussing kind of informally, trying to... we've got like 20,000 tests in Ubuntu, so we can't feasibly go through each and say, are there tests and how do you run tests? So we're thinking of automating the process of grabbing all the source packages, determining if the make file has got a test target,
right,
and then try and run those for each package that we got across the board. That's one way. There's another way, is that we've got someone on the QA team right now working on the desktop testing, and they're going to start writing tests like those automated application tests. They're going to start writing those for various applications that are common on the Ubuntu desktop that you'd find in the applications menu. So we're going to start writing them on the outside now, like for gedit and things like that. And then once we have a comprehensive suite, we're going to start pushing that to upstream, so that they can say, usually the first step is the biggest. So if we can contribute like 2 to 10 tests to these upstream projects, say, look, this is how you write automated desktop tests. And then they should adopt it in their upstream project. Upon packaging, they might want to split it in two, because like we want packages to be lean in general, especially like to fit on live CD, and people don't really want to install tests unless they intend to run them. So upon packaging, these can be split, and then when people do want to run tests, they just install the corresponding dash test or dash whatever package, and then we'll be able to leverage the test that they will be the desktop test that they will be maintaining from that point onward.
Okay, so are there things that you want people in the community to do now to help get involved, or is this something that you're still working on internally with Canonical?
Oh, well, there are 2 projects that people can start looking into. So there's a Checkbox project on Launchpad. That's pretty easy to find. That you can add manual or automated tests or integrate other test suites in there pretty easily. It's not very well documented yet, but we're working on that. There's also the Ubuntu-desktop-testing project on Launchpad. That's where the automated desktop suites are right now, and we've got someone from QA working on that on a daily basis, so you can expect to see a lot of progress there.
Excellent. Okay, well, thanks for talking to me today.
Thank you for interviewing. So